Let's talk about tyres today. I have some of my own experiences to share. I want to point out this isn't a rant, it's more of an information discussion type video. These tyres were on a car that I bought last year, and I noticed there was a lot of cracking on the sidewalls. There were no problems on the tread, but on the sidewalls a lot of very fine cracks all over the tyre, and it was very obvious to me that they were degrading. And both of them showed the same effects. They didn't look very good. All tyres have markings for when they were manufactured, so you can see the age of them. In this case, I was really quite shocked to see that the tyres were over 12 years old. These tyres are older than the car is. I have no idea how they ended up on there, but for all I know, they may have been lying around for years or they took them off of another car. Here's another example of the tyre age, week 30, 2022. So keep an eye out for this if you are buying a car or you're getting tyres, just to see how old these tyres are. And doing a bit of research with the major manufacturers, all of them seem to suggest that you should be paying particular attention to tyres after around about 5 years. And you should absolutely not be using tyres that are older than 10 years old, regardless of their condition or wear. I started to look around at different places when I was getting some new tyres fitted, and I could see just a huge number of cheap budget tyres that these tyre places are selling. The number of brands for budget tyres is quite surprising, really. I started doing a bit of delving into things with information. I will point out that there are minimum requirements for tyre safety to be actually sold on the market. So I'm not suggesting that these brands are unsafe, but what I am saying is there's just a massive number of them, and many of these tyres are not really that good. Had to replace the front tyres because they were worn down. These tyres were just your usual standard cheap budget ones. They are certainly road legal and approved, but they're really not very good. They're about at the bottom end of the price range. If you look at the tyre label system, which they brought out not that long ago, you have ratings for rolling resistance and wet weather performance. And perhaps over time it will encourage tyre makers to improve the quality of their tyres. Cracked tyres on the back were made by a company in India. I'm not saying that they're bad tyres as such. Any tyre that's that age will probably show signs of degrading and age. I couldn't even find a label rating for that particular tyre. Cheapest tyres that I can get for the car that I have is around about €50 or just over. You can spend up to about €120 on tyres. The Tyranza ones that I bought were just over €80 each. So we're sort of roughly in the middle range. Perhaps you're driving an older car or something that you don't really want to put much money into. I wouldn't expect someone to put Goodyears or Pirellis on a beaten up old banger. I started looking at tyres a bit more, and particularly on newer cars. In this example, I'm looking at a Corsa. This is a 2022 car. They have two different brands on the same axle, which is a bit suspect because you'll get different performance. Both tyres were some of the cheapest tyres that you can buy. Noticed a similar thing with this Toyota that was parked in a supermarket. This particular brand, Massimo, is not Italian. It sounds Italian and sporty, but it's just another one of those cheap budget brands. The iLink tyre on the Corsa, that costs just over €55. It's one of the cheaper tyres that you can buy for that car. Then I started to look at better quality mid-range tyres, how much they would cost. Then you start getting into brands which are somewhat better in terms of their reputation. Companies like Hankook are quite a well-established brand, so are Falcon. Some of the top brands are quite expensive, I would agree with that. It's not about buying the most expensive tyre that you can or buying a particular brand. And your wet weather performance with some of these budget tyres is really not very good at all. When I bought those Tyranza tyres, there was a massive improvement in the handling of the car and the grip and the wet braking performance. The thing that surprises me the most is seeing relatively new cars with the cheapest tyres that people can fit on them. And I just think it's incredibly strange to spend so little on something which has such a big impact potentially on your safety or other people's safety. Because the better quality tyres tend to have improved rolling resistance, you'll probably end up covering at least some of the cost of those over the lifetime of the tyre, so you're really not saving that much money in the long run. you're probably better off not buying the cheapest tyres you can lay your hands on and spending a little bit more and having improved road safety and better performance in the long run.